Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on which part of the world you are. I am here in Sydney, Australia, and it's a really beautiful day today. So welcome to the channel, and I hope you guys are doing great. Now today we'll be talking about car accidents. Okay, so last year I had a car accident, and when this thing happened, I jumped onto Google and YouTube, and I tried to do some digging, but the information that I received, that I gathered back then, wasn't enough. And over the last couple of months, I had to go through a lot of trouble, literally a nightmare situation. So this is the purpose of making this video. So because I had to go through all of this trouble, I thought I might as well share my information with you guys so that this information is useful, at least to some of you who would be facing the same difficulties today. Okay, now there are a lot of things to cover. Okay, now before I get into the details, let me first make a couple of assumptions. Now I assume that you just had an accident and you have no comprehensive insurance policy or no policy at all. And also you are not at fault and you live in New South Wales. This would be my assumption. In other words, the information that we are going to share, that I'm going to share, would be most relevant to this situation. Not at fault, residing in New South Wales, and you don't have a comprehensive policy, and you just don't know what to do after the accident. Now, because there are a lot of things to cover, I have to give you a couple of disclaimers, and sometimes this information will be legal, so I have to give you a couple of disclaimers. The first one, obviously, is legal disclaimer. Now, we are not, it's not a guarantee of anything. There's no results need to be obtained out of this discussion. No professional advice. I'm not a lawyer. I cannot speak on your behalf. So it's not a legal information. This shouldn't be taken into as legal information, and it's no representation. I'm not going to represent you, or this material cannot be presented as a representation of your case. And also, we're going to give you a couple of examples, especially we're going to talk about scams. Yes, you heard me right. We're going to talk about scams. And the examples, the testimonials that we'll provide, we are not saying that this information is accurate. So you have to, use this information at your own risk. And the results, like acknowledgement, all the things that we are going to present to you, any liabilities rising out of this conversation will be disclaimed. It cannot be claimed in any legal or any legal or any avenue for that matter. Okay, so that is the legal disclaimer. And also I have another disclaimer, inconvenience disclaimer. So you might be wondering what the heck is an inconvenience disclaimer. Now look, we make videos and it's a lot of efforts that we have to put through to make these videos, but I hate to do editing. So this video could be a little bit shorter, but because if it was done in a professional way, it could be much more presentable. So I hope this video does not cause too much inconvenience, especially when I fumble upon words. I will try to gather myself as quickly as I can. But again, there will be situations when this video may get a little bit awkward. So bear with me for a moment, be patient. I apologize for all of this inconvenience. So this would be like the disclaimers. Now, so how, as I said, like this, to whom this information would be most relevant? Again, third-party claim. You only have a third-party policy or no comprehensive insurance or no insurance at all. You live in New South Wales and you're, of course, not at fault. Now, when this accident happens, obviously, if let's say that the vehicle that you have collided with was side by side, right? Now there can be an argument that who is at fault. If it's a side by side collision, whether you change the lane, whether the other party changed the lane, it can be an argument. But if you're hit from behind, well, there is no argument. The other party is at fault. 100%. So that was my case. So I assume that by not at fault, most likely that you are rear-ended, you were hit from behind. That was exactly my case. So what should you do as soon as this happens? If you're hit from behind, this is like what I would suggest you to do. Of course, there are some obvious things that you have to do. If somebody is injured, for instance, you have to call, I believe, you have to call the ambulance, you have to call the police. Or if someone is intoxicated, right? You also have to inform it to the police. Look, I'm not totally privy with all this information. You have to, again, you have to do your own digging to find out exactly what you have to do in those specific situations. But that wasn't my case. So other than the most obvious things, this is what I would suggest. Again, license details is again one of the most obvious things, but this is the not so obvious things. These should be the primary focus of our discussions, the things that might slip out of your mind. So you got the license details, or if somebody's injured, you call the police, whatever. You should gather their name, email address, and phone number. Why? We're going to talk about it in a sec. Letter of demand. That will be our next topic. So you should get these details straight away. The name of that individual who, of course, you can see it in the license, but again, just for the sake of clarity, you got your name, you got your email, you got your phone number. And when you get these three key information, excuse me, make sure that this is their number. Okay, if somebody says, this is my number, how do you know that this is his number? You give them a call. You know, like, this is me, send them a text, or this is me, whatever is your name. You get a response back from them. Can you send me your name? Whatever, acknowledgement. And also the same is true for their email address. You send them an email straight away. This is the things that you have to do straight away, as soon as this happens, after the incident has taken place, as soon as possible. Email address, you send them an email, a hi, hello, test, whatever, you get a response from them. So this is how you know that, okay, this is the valid details for that individual who committed this accident. Okay, insurance details. Now, why is this important? Again, all of these things, the information that we are talking about, these should be relevant in the next section, letter of demand. So be patient. We're going to talk in more details about those things in a sec. Pictures and videos. Now, in ideal case, obviously, you should have a camera like a dash cam footage to say that, oh, this accident has taken place. But if you don't have a dash cam footage, you still can take a video. Of course, you're going to take pictures of the damage, obvious, and you still should take a video of the entire scene, the situation. As soon as you come out of the vehicle, you take a video. Or as soon as it's practicable, let's say that it's in the middle of the road, you want to, drive into the next road or the side road. Whenever possible, as soon as it's practicable, you take a video of the entire scene. Okay, so pictures and videos. Witness. Is there an witness, a bystander who witnessed this incident? Again, the same thing goes, name, email address, phone number. You get those details. And police report. Now, of course, to get a police report, well, technically you should get a police report, but again, you have to call the police. You don't know how long that will take to get in. And it's also can be a quite frightening thing for the other party as why he's going to call the police. So you don't want to cause, it's already a situation of panic. You don't want to cause more panic. Okay, so my suggestion would be, if that individual is cooperating, is complying with your lawful request, like the name, email address, phone number, insurance details, and all those things, if he's complying, you're probably not going to need a police report because he's already complying. But if he do not comply, if he refuses to give you this information, you need to call the police. And of course, you have to wait for the police to get in. And they will get in and they will do a report. So my suggestion would be, if he's complying, you don't need to bother. Like I personally won't bother. Okay. So you got the primary evidence, which is information. Again, one more time: name, email address, phone number, insurance details, pictures and videos, witness, police report. These are your primary evidence of that incident. Now, once you have this evidence, that is our next stage of the process, letter of demand. Okay, now when you send the letter of demand, what is in the letter of demand? Now, obviously, if there is a damage to your vehicle, let's say that it's a repairable damage, right? Your vehicle is still on the road, like it's drivable. You can drive it. Now, in that case, you take it to a mechanic and then they'll give you a quote. Repairable damage, they give you a quote. In your letter of demand, you send the quote straight away. But if there is a total loss, let's say that your vehicle is rear-ended, you hit from behind, and then that vehicle went forward and hit the vehicle in front. Now, if there is a collision on both sides, usually it's a total loss. It's a non-repairable damage. Now, in that case, this vehicle has to be like towed away. Okay, it has to be. You cannot drive this vehicle, obviously. Or the other thing is, I believe, the engine heating up. Let's say that you had a collision, and the heating indicator of the engine, you will see, like, I believe you already know. You drive the car, so you definitely know. There is a indication where which shows the temperature level of the indication. There is a coolant, like the engine has to be cooled down as it drives. If this indicator is going to the extreme, now at the maximum, you should stop driving straight away. If you see that the indicator for the engine heating is going up, don't drive. Don't take the risk. Something can happen. It can even explode. So it's not recommended at all. Like, you're advised not to drive. Okay, if it's a both side collision, if it's a collision from the both end, don't drive. But if you do decide to drive, make sure that the heating indicator is not going to the right. If it goes to the right, as soon as you see it, stop driving. That would be my advice. Anyway, so if it's a total loss, that vehicle has to be towed away. If it's a collision on both sides, it has to be towed away. Now, obviously, your letter of demand, the towing has its own cost. So the letter of demand should also include this cost. But there is another cost. If it's a total loss, normally how this claim will be settled, right? Will the insurance company, like you got the insurance details from the other party, will the insurance company going to settle this claim? If they accept this claim, yes, all these costs and everything will be the insurance company's liability. You don't have to worry about any of those. But if the insurance company does not accept the claim, so you got the towing cost, right? You got the towing cost. Plus, you also need to get a salvage report. But now, before you get to the salvage report, you can also lodge a complaint to AFCA, Australian Financial Complaints Authority. AFCA. Where else AFCA? Anyway, so that is one of the things that you have to do. Australian Financial Complaints Authority. You look it up on Google. So you can lodge a complaint at AFCA. Okay, you can lodge a complaint at AFCA to see if the insurance company can be held accountable to accept the liabilities. And if also that doesn't work out, then you have to take the legal route, obviously, the law access. Like, you can go to law access. There is another website called law access. Now, when you go to law access, they will usually provide you information of some lawyers. You can use them sometimes, or it's entirely up to you whether you're gonna, use the lawyers recommended by the law access, or you can use your own lawyers. Okay, now how to choose a lawyer? We're gonna talk about it in a sec. Now, before we talk about the lawyers, to get to the lawyers, you need one more thing. Okay, you need the salvage report. So what is exactly a salvage report? Now, see, when your vehicle is damaged, like when there is a damage to your vehicle, if it's repairable damage, you get a quote from the mechanic straight away. But if that mechanic says that, oh, it's a total loss, then you need a salvage report. Now, the salvage report basically is what is the market value of the vehicle. Because it's a total loss, they need to make an estimate of the market value of that vehicle. Okay. Now, once they make that estimate, they also have to deduct an amount from that estimate. What is that amount? The salvage amount. Let's say that the vehicle is damaged, but it's not entirely damaged, or whatever is left off. Let's say the tires are still okay, the doors, maybe one or two doors are still okay. Whatever it is, some parts are maybe okay. So they're gonna deduct that amount, the salvage amount, from that estimate, the market value of the vehicle. So this is what a salvage report is all about. It has a market value minus the salvage value of the car. So this is the salvage report. So before you go to the lawyers, as I said, if the insurance company handles it, you don't have to worry about this part. If the insurance company is handling the claim, they accept the claim, then you don't have to worry about the salvage report. But if they do not accept the claim, then you can lodge a complaint to see if AFCA can help, right, to make the insurance company accept the claim. But if they also fail, now AFCA has another issue. Normally, because they're overloaded with so many cases, you may not hear from them in about, like in my case, like I'm giving you my experience, right? So in my case, it took about 20 weeks, which is about 4 months. Now, after 4 months, they told me that, look, you don't have an ongoing financial agreement with the insurance company, right? I only had a third-party policy. I didn't have a comprehensive policy, so my insurance company didn't get involved. And the other party, the at-fault party, his insurance company, I didn't have an ongoing financial contract with. And as such, AFCA said that it does not fall within the jurisdiction. It does not fall within their jurisdiction. So they also turned me down. They also declined my request. So let's assume that this is your case as well. AFCA declined, insurance company declined. In that case, you definitely have to get a salvage report to get to the next stage, which is the, usually it's a letter of demand, but it could be legal implications. So once you have all of these things, you have either the quote or the salvage report, the salvage value, plus the towing, the cost for towing. This should be in your letter of demand. If it's only a repairable quote, if it's only a quote, that alone is letter of demand. Like you make it part of your letter of demand, you send it through to the at-fault driver, like the email address, phone number. This is the reason why you get all those details. Now, if it's not a repairable quote, if it's a total loss, now your letter of demand has salvage value plus the towing cost, whatever it is. Now you send the letter of demand to the at-fault party. Now you wait for the response. Obviously, you're gonna give a deadline that, look, I expect a response, blah blah blah, a week or something. And if they see if they comply, if they come up with a response, that's okay. If you get a response that, look, we're gonna give you the amount, that's fine. But if not, if the other party says that, oh, we're not gonna give you this much money, okay, in that case, your alternatives are two alternatives. You can either accept a loss, like I believe it's called reasonable offer. So let's say that your damage is worth $10,000. I'm just giving a hypothetical example, or $12,000, and they said that we're gonna give you $10,000. Should you take a legal route? My advice would be no. Again, we're gonna talk about it in a sec. Even if it's in loss, even if it's, let's say that you are not getting the whole amount, even if there is a little bit of loss, I would strongly encourage you to accept that loss and walk away. Because when you get the legal, when you take the legal route, there are a lot of things, and the most important thing is the cost. When you're dealing with the lawyers, in some cases, again, I keep hearing about these things. Like when I was doing my research, I came about and scam, which would be like the last part of this video. So we're going to talk about scam, lawyers scam. Okay, we're going to talk about it in a sec. But other than that, even if it's a genuine lawyer, if it's a genuine case, you still legal fees. You have to be very, very careful about the legal fees. How do you choose a lawyer? Let's talk about that for a moment. Again, legal aid, law access, there can be an option. You can go through some of these lawyers. But in some cases, when I actually went to them, and like they will give you some referrals. Now, some of the lawyers that I spoke to, they told me that the initial conversation is going to cost you how much? $500. They haven't taken the case yet. The initial conversation, they're going to hear your story, and they will charge you $500 to hear your story. Plus GST, $550. Is that worth it? I don't think it is. Especially for small claims like $20,000 under up to $20,000 is a small claim, right? I don't think it's worth it to spend another $500 to a lawyer who will just listen to your case. They will not do anything. They will see if you actually have a case. Initial conversation. Now, the community legal center, there is another alternative. So you sort out with the referrals from the legal aid, law access, whatever. And the other alternative is to go to the community legal center. And there is another one, like if you want to do Google, maybe use debt recovery. Like the lawyers, you use the term debt recovery lawyers, see what comes up. It could be useful. But the key idea, the key to remember here is this, or at least that is my experience. Okay, lawyers are not there for you. This is the important thing to remember. Lawyers are there only for money. This is what you have to realize. Okay, it may sound very cynical, but because like you're paying someone, if they are not here to protect your interests, then who will? Whom should you go to? Excuse me. But the cold reality is, lawyers are not there for you. They are only there for their own interest, which is money. Okay, so you have to be very, very careful about how much they're going to charge you, the fees. And also the representation. When local lawyers, when your case, let's say that there are a couple of, like if there's a defense in a legal proceedings, if there's a default judgment or a defense, if it's a default judgment, there is no representation. If there is a defense, then the lawyer has to represent you in the court. So if, let's say that this incident has taken place in Sydney, and you hire a lawyer from Western Australia, from Perth, how that gonna turn out? How is that gonna play out? Probably not in a very good way. So you need to find a lawyer who is local, who can represent you in the local court in case they need you. You can quickly go and appear in the court proceedings. So local lawyer, these are the things you have to remember. But let's talk about the fees a little bit longer, a little bit more. Now, because some of the lawyers are very shady about their fees, so when you are dealing with the lawyers, be very, very upfront. Be very, very upfront about the fees. Solicitor's duty to the clients. This is a link from Law Access, lawsociety.com.au. Now, again, all the links, all the structure, like the structure of this conversation, everything will be in the description. So you don't need to panic. Okay, everything will be at the bottom of this video. So this is the Law Society website, and they say the disclose any updates or changes regarding costs to their client. So this is one of the responsibilities to the client when it comes to dealing with the lawyer. They are legally bound to provide you with information. Now, if they don't, if you find, like, you go through all of these things, if you find any breaches or anything, there is a section where it is There is a section, Office of the New South Wales Legal Services Commissioner. Office of the New South Wales Legal Services Commissioner. Again, I assume that this accident has taken place in New South Wales. So this information is most relevant if you are in New South Wales. You can go onto this website and lodge a complaint against that lawyer. Okay, it's in your legal right to lodge a complaint against that lawyer. Now, how much, let's talk about the fees, the typical fees. How much a lawyer should charge you. Again, business.gov.au. If you scroll down at the bottom, there is an example provided that says the legal fees to take instructions and prepare court documents, they're $1,200. Court filing fee, $200 roughly. And if this case is not defended, the legal fee is $600. So roughly about $2,000 of legal fee you're looking at. If this case is not defended, if there's a default judgment, should you take the route of taking a legal proceedings, you are looking at another $2,000. Out of those $2,000, how much can you claim? Now, in some cases, the lawyers will tell you, again, shady tactic. Lawyers will tell you that, oh, you can claim all of this cost from the party at fault, but this is not true. I tell you why. If you go to this link, it's called JUD.com, JUD.com, COM, NSW.gov.au. Again, if you scroll down, small claims, if you scroll down, you see that the between 5,000 and 20,000, let's say that this is the small claim. Again, not exceeding 1,000, that is $360. Not exceeding 5,000, that is $547. And not exceeding 20,000, that is the maximum number that you can claim under legal bench. Not the legal bench, small claims division. You get about $729.60. So see, you already lost your vehicle, right? You already lost your vehicle. Now you paid another $2,000 at the very least to a lawyer. So you're already at loss. Now out of those loss, you can claim about $729.60. Again, it's the JUD.com, it's the New South Wales government website. So I'm not making it up. So should you take a legal route? My advice would be no. Even if it's, let's say, the $2,000 less, I would say don't take a legal route, accept your loss and walk away. And imagine the trouble. You are dealing with AFCA, you are dealing with the insurance company, you are dealing with the at-fault party, you are dealing with his lawyers, and also you are researching with different types of lawyers. You are, sending through all the different types of documentation, you are answering their queries. Does it really worth it? In my opinion, I have been through all of these things. So at the end of the day, after going through all of these things, if anybody told me all these things beforehand, before getting into this mess myself, I wouldn't bother. It's entirely up to you whether you should do what you should do, but I wouldn't bother to involve into a legal proceedings if it's under, let's say a $10,000 claim or whatever it is. So this would be my suggestion, and also I gave you, in case you find difficulties dealing with the lawyers, there is the commissioner, New South Wales legal commissioner, where you can lodge a complaint against that lawyer if you find out that they haven't done a good job, or if there is a dispute between you and the lawyer. Now, the most important thing. So we have talked about 30 minutes or so, but the most important thing is this: scam. These days, people are getting scammed left and right. So you need to be very, very careful. When it comes to lawyers, I only have two things: protect your evidence and protect your asset. Protect your evidence and protect your asset. These are the two things that I have for you. I don't recommend going to a lawyer. Even if you do go to a lawyer, scam. This is the main topic of our discussion right now. Okay, we're going to talk about scam. But to talk about scam, I have to talk about two things: protecting your evidence, and of course, protecting your asset. why protecting your evidence is important. See, when it goes to a legal proceedings, right? Lawyers normally, like in a legal court, in a legal proceedings, you will need the salvage report, which we discussed before. If you don't have a salvage report, you're gonna need the vehicle. Let's say that you don't have a salvage report and you talk to a lawyer. Okay, what should I do? You have the vehicle, and now you are talking to the lawyer about what should be the next course of action. Now, the next course of action is, if the vehicle is with you, do not give it to anyone else. Scam. We're going to talk about an example. Now, I came across, when I was doing my research, I don't know whether these things are actually true, whether these things are actually, like completely made up. I don't know. But this is one of the companies. They say that they settle these kind of claims. It's called third-party claims. They said, like you go to them, they will assess your claim, they will settle your claim. And here is a testimony from whoever posted this comment. And also I came about the same thing in a website called Yelp, like a third party, like it's a review community website, yelp.com. And basically saying, again, this is the same company that I'm talking about, third party claims. So this gentleman wrote that his vehicle the damaged vehicle was taken from him. His damaged vehicle was taken from him under the guise of processing the insurance claim. That is what is written. So this company took the vehicle, the damaged vehicle, from the person who had an accident, and then they sold it off to the wreckers, to the salvage yard, and he didn't get any money whatsoever. And he also made some very serious allegations that even if you talk about these things, then you will be intimidated. Like he gave some examples of some other reviews posted in Google, like Google reviews. Like when you like look up a company in Google, there are reviews about that company. How trustworthy are these reviews? After reading this, I cannot say that these reviews are trustworthy. Again, none of this is a actual, like none of these claims can be verified. Like I cannot claim whether these things are actually true, right? I can't say that. But based on what I have found in two websites, whether it's Google or in another community website, Yelp, and also I believe it's in the word of mouth. There is another community website, word of mouth, again, same company. I found multiple testimonials, again, completely unverified, multiple testimonials where people complained about this particular company. They said that they have been manipulated, they have been silenced, they have been taken advantage of, they have been scammed, they have been cheated. Took their vehicle, this company took their vehicle, and they didn't give him any money whatsoever. They just stole their vehicle, so to speak. So, should you get into all this trouble? Again, coming back to the legal fees, scams, the trouble. Should you get into all this trouble? So when you are looking for a lawyer, if you are dealing with a lawyer, make sure that you have a salvage report at hand. Do not give your vehicle to anyone. Okay, even if to the lawyers don't need your vehicle. Lawyers need a salvage report. So your vehicle, again, protecting your evidence, your vehicle is your evidence. You take it, like you Google it, whoever does salvage reporting, you find some of these companies in Google, and they will give you the money, I believe in most cases, 24 hours. Like I got my money in 24 hours. So they do an assessment. Again, first of all, you have to do an assessment by a licensed practitioner, again, people who does these kind of things, like who prepare salvage report. That will cost you about $300-400. Like in my case was something along $350-400. So around $400 to get the salvage report. And then after that, they will, like this individual, they're going to tie it up. Like they will initiate the process of taking your vehicle to the salvage yard and then that amount, whatever you get out of that vehicle, the market value, they will do the research. This is the market value. This is the amount that you got from the salvage yard. So that will be part of the salvage report. So when you are dealing with the lawyers, the bottom line is that the point that I'm trying to make, do not give the vehicle to the lawyers. That will be my advice. Do not give the vehicle to the lawyers. Only find an individual who can do salvage report, and then they will do the rest of it. They will organize someone to pick up the vehicle, whatever it is. There's a towing cost. If there is a towing cost, again, it will be all part of the claim. The salvage report that we are talking about, it will be all part of the claim. And also the amount that you're gonna spend to get the salvage report, again, is also all gonna be part of the claim. So if you're going to the lawyers, protect your asset, protect your evidence. These are my two key takeaways. Okay, now have I missed anything? Let me quickly go over here. Okay, so scam. So we dealt with the scam, fees. Okay, so now a couple of other things that I need to talk about. If you get into like a lawyer situation, if you get, this is the last thing, again, I do not recommend it at all, but even if you still get into a situation like this, these are for your own safety precautions. See, again, I'm banging maybe over and over again, I'm repeating myself, but I have to emphasize this point. Lawyers are not there for you. They are for their own interest. So if you, let's say that you ended up, finding a lawyer not doing a good job, you have to lodge a complaint against them, they can come after you. They can come after you because, like you're giving your identity to them. So your asset, whatever you have, your bank savings, your new vehicle, whatever it is, your asset, you have to protect your asset, right? They might as well intimidate you, as I just mentioned, like one of the like the scam example that I gave you. There were people who have been silenced. Again, these are completely unverifiable, but who knows, if it is actually true, then it is quite frightening, quite intimidating. Unwanted calls. After you got into a lawyer, after you got into a dispute of sort, whatever it is, if you get unwanted calls, do not receive any unwanted calls. You shouldn't receive an unwanted call anyway, because obviously unwanted calls come with a lot of risk, potentially the risk of a scam. But nonetheless, you should not accept any unwanted calls at all. That's number one. Number two, you should always, like have a camera installed in your car, a dash cam. That would be my advice. Okay, any kind of footage, any kind of, like when it comes to the evidence, dash cam footage is number one evidence of an accident, hands down. And finally, should you ever buy a third-party policy? Been through what I've been through, been there, done that. I would not recommend a bit. I would not recommend a bit to get a third-party policy. Always get a comprehensive policy, always, because this trouble is not really worth it. You may say that, oh, that is exactly what I thought before, that if you get involved into an accident, how much will it cost? Like, if you, let's say they don't have a comprehensive policy, how much will it cost? Well, it can cost you an arm and leg. You can lose the entire amount, as some people had. Let's say that you were scammed, your vehicle is gone. How are you going to solve the claim then? How are you going to settle the claim? You don't have a vehicle. And if you ended up with a scam like this, if you ended up with lawyers and all the headaches, you're looking at thousands of dollars. You may save some money along the line, but once you have that incident, you are literally standing at losing tens of thousands, depending on how much your vehicle is worth. You are literally standing at losing tens of thousands of dollars. So does it really worth it? Is it worth it? I would not recommend you to get a third-party policy at all. And so be a bit prudent, be a bit more judgmental about a third-party policy, having only a third-party policy, I will strongly recommend that you buy a comprehensive policy all the way. Like, I'm not going to go back to third-party policy ever in my life. After being through what I've been through, I will never ever buy a third-party policy ever. Okay. So this is my best advice. I hope this helps. I wish, somebody told me about these things before I got into an accident. So I hope this helps. Again, all the links and everything will be at the bottom. Go through, and also I do blogging. We're going to write a blog post about it. You can, if you want to go to my website, blissful-penguin.com.au, you will find a post like somewhere along, because, it's a lot of effort to go through all of these things, to write up and make videos and whatnot. So you're gonna be maybe a month, or maybe another couple of days, another 10-15 days. So I'm gonna put a post on it. So if you want to read the whole details, like the fine print in my blog, there'll be a description, and also all the links, all the resources that I have, all the research that I have done, all the resources that I gathered so far. Everything will be in the video description. So I hope this helps. And thank you for listening, and I will catch up with you on the next one. Bye for now.